Thank God for wake up and see another day, giving us our limbs and mobility to move around despite all that is going on around us. All of this growing, learning, and healing as I'm beginning a new series of the process. I'm just bringing me to you so we can kind of get to know each other a little better and to understand a little bit about my process and my journey of how I got here and what's going on while I'm here. How about that? I'm going to turn the air on a little bit. I was never button, needed someone, because it can't only you. I guess we're kind of making me taking night every day, and it's all that I do, cause yes. I let you show, don't let you in on my life. I tell you the things that you need to know. I know you fuck that, I know you need that. The way you move in your body, don't need to see that. I know it makes sense, don't know I play pretend. Okay, well, all right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world today. It's me, Tia Rogers, to take care of your health, save, and invest, and grow your business mentor. Coming to you this morning. Welcome to our From the Womb to the Womb, from the womb to the from the womb to the tomb podcast series that we're starting. Yesterday we dropped one about 3 o'clock to get back into the flow of things. So as we are moving forward in this week, I hope that you will come and join us here on YouTube as we are beginning the series. Yesterday we were talking about how I got started, right? And my whole experience is coming in and where how this equation right here. Okay, I don't know, can you see this equation? Let's see. Is it better from here? All right, so we were talking about the -0 equaling 1 plus the square root of 5, which is definitely an algebraic equation, divided by 2, and then this congruent sign, meaning how many times can it equal out? How many times can you make it the same, right? And we talked about this being equivalent to the frequency waves that we have, right? And taking ourselves from pain to power. I share with you how I started out this journey, caring for my parents. And before we go a little bit further there, I just want to read the disclaimer to you, just so that you don't get anything misconstrued. I'm sharing my journey. I'm sharing my experience coming into the network marketing industry as a distributor, as well as a business owner. With it, and I'm tossing it up right now, whether or not to have the title as owner or founder, due to the vision that I have for my business, which is to either collaborate with those that are already helping transitional families during the period of homelessness, right? My overall goal is to eventually learn about real estate and how to identify a property to be able to renovate the property and make it where it's feasible for people to live for a temporary time until they get themselves together, right? So I know that that vision is not going to happen today. It didn't happen the day that I thought of it, but I know the steps that I needed to take to begin building the bridges or connecting dots and developing relationships to begin on a journey to how I can make that vision of fruition. And being a part of the industry, the network marketing industry, has helped me to not only obtain education in all the different areas that I needed in my life, whether it's financial, um, real estate investment, travel, health and wellness, all of that is basically the foundation of helping me get to where I am trying to get to overall to develop my hopes and dreams. And my job as your mentor is to help you to navigate through the channels as you're going. So I just want to read this disclaimer real quick to you so that we don't have any discrepancies or any misunderstandings. And I should have watched the time to make sure that I'm staying within my time frame. All right, so Tammy's is the company which we started in 2018. It stands for True Action, Motivation, Movement, Integrity, Sincerity, and Evolution. It's a home-based entrepreneur professional network marketing service. Tammy's has taken the time to invest in exclusive partnerships with e-commerce network marketing professional companies that have improved individuals' lives through education, services, products, and goods with an income-based opportunity. Tammy's was founded in 2018, growing the business part-time and a full-time business franchise. Tammy's mission is to provide a hand up and not a handout with family values, ethics, morals, and educational services, products and goods, consumer, business, and affiliate marketing opportunity, opt-in options. Tammy's offers a one-year program that provides educational launch course, including group mentoring, including private one-on-one consultation, and or coaching fees do apply for private consultations and or coaching and events to continue your progress. Tammy's does not guarantee that any opportunity offered for residual income will bring individuals the result they are seeking or proclaim in presentations of services, products, goods, and business opportunity, as each person's income is based on their own individual performance during the period of enrollment in any business. In any business opportunity as they build their business. The year program is broken down into 90-day increments to all memberships, to all membership partners, along with a lifetime community support. Should an individual decide to enroll in a business opportunity through this page or any business page and or podcast show associated with this page, please note your results are based off your ability of being coachable and implementing what is taught in trainings, as well as your unique expertise you bring. Each individual that enrolls and begins their own independent business through the cost of the opportunity being offered, each individual is welcome to the opportunity to begin the process, building the foundation of themselves and a healthy life and lifestyle in a variety of areas. Tia started where she was with what she had, and now is on her way to living a healthy life and lifestyle. Tia knows that the value of opportunity far outweighs the time it has taken her in business as she continues to build the foundation of her business. She enjoys sharing it with others and seeing their growth over their journey. So that's one, right? So we got the disclaimer out the way. I'm not saying that anyone is going to make massive amounts of money coming into the industry. What I am saying is that if you are coachable and if you're willing, coachable, and hungry enough, you can begin to grow your business and begin an income source for yourself. through each opportunity that is offered. Or you have the choice to just be a customer. So if you're following me, I'm sure you've seen some of my things on YouTube already. We're going to be taking you from our podcast onto our private Facebook group, How to Win in Life and Win in Business, which is where we host a lot of our weekly, daily meeting calls, to just provide encouragement, information. Right now, since I'm a beginner, what do you guess I'm talking about? I'm talking about the products and those services that I am not only a customer of, but also the products that I've also taken an opportunity of the business side. So I know that my dialect and my conversation is different than most people that you are coming across in the industry and in the area. And here is why. Because as I am learning and adapting to the ways, and getting used to their system, which is not really hard to learn. However, I have to find my own voice in the midst of all the other distributors. I have to be able to make my own pace and my own identity, which isn't always easy, when you're learning. So I spend a large part of my beginning years in training. I still train to this day. I just feel that life is a school of experiences and lessons. So I figure out if the more I can stay abreast on information that I enjoy and topics that interest me, the better it's going to make my life, and enhance it and fill it in and allow me to become more comfortable with just generally having a conversation with someone, having more than one thing to just talk about. But like I started earlier, my background is in, human services in a variety of areas, from maternal child health, geriatric care, child welfare, corrections, and even yeah, mental health as well. I mentioned that, right? So I have a lot of information inside of me. And sometimes it's a little hard to kind of ration it all out as I'm in the transition from being an employee to becoming a full-time business owner, which happened through me taking the steps every day, and putting a little bit into my business. Which brings us to what I want to say again. I'm not sure if you guys can really see this, and I'm so sorry if you can't see this, like this, how it is in the city. All right, so hopefully you can see it. We were talking about frequencies on yesterday, right? And I gave you a couple numbers that it all plays out to be. So we're just going to take this equation here, and I want you to personalize it to your own life. Okay, so what is the frequency that you are creating what was it, every second? I forgot that part. So it's like second, every second, there's a frequency going out that we have. What from within us that is, and even around us, there's frequencies all around us. We're learning about law of attraction. We're learning about our frequency, and I am very mindful, to the frequency part, because I'm often told that I'm not excited enough. Well, I'm sorry. I'm a little animated, but as far as walking around excited all the time, that's not my natural being. My natural being is doing exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just bringing you who I am to the table. So and if you need a little bit more excitement, maybe once in a while I might can get a little excited, but not too much. That's not what I do. Uh, Although I do have moments where joy just overcomes and it shows out. But anyway, we're talking about the frequency. We're looking at this equation, -0 equaling 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2, and the congruency of how we can get this equation to come out the same all the time. for each second of frequency that is calculating through a unit or let me look it up again. I did have it. Anyhow, we're just gonna flow with the flow. I don't come to be, I'm not an expert. I just am one that is enthused about life. And when you talk about helping people to begin to take their life and begin changing it, and knowing how I navigated through overcoming different challenges in my life, being a single mom, being a mom, raising the children alone, getting them to be grown, getting to the point where that transition where they're no longer dependent on me, but they're interdependent, and respecting them for who they are now as adults when they were going into the adult phases. All of that is a process. Even the process of losing my son, that was a process, which all happened in the midst of me still building, still working and building. I thought that, keeping myself busy, distracting myself from my thoughts was going to help, but it didn't. It all blew up. And then I had to make a decision. I had to decide whether or not I was going to continue to try to play both sides of the fence. As my father would say, nobody wants you to be lukewarm to you. Make a decision. You're going to be on one side of the fence, you're going to be on the other side. So I took the leap and I jumped over to the other side, right? So, and taking a leap over to the other side, I just want to share with you some of there's 7 principles of life, and this is ahuna, a Hawaiian word meaning a secret, right? That's what ahuna means. It's a secret, and it refers to the wisdom of ancient Polynesian cultures. Ahuna. Now, this information you can Google it. Now, don't say that I'm giving you other people's information, because I'm taking other people's information, giving it to you, and trying to bring it all together to help the information make sense the best of my ability. So, underneath wanting to know the meaning of a secret, and Huna is all about empowerment, about increasing your speech, spirituality, allergy, energy, and metaphysics, your healing powers inside yourself. So when you could experience and connect physically, emotionally, and mentally and spiritually with a higher power that can empower you to bring into your life whatever you desire. So I kind of put that to the test, guys. And the first principle is the world is what you think it is. The second principle is there are no limits. Everything is possible. The third one is energy flows where attention goes. And the other one is now is the moment of power. That was number 5. Number 6 is to love is to be happy. Number six is power comes from within, and number 7 is effectiveness and measures of truth. So we know that there's laws of attraction, right? And the laws of attraction work off of vibration. So while you're driving, you're driving yourself towards what inspires you, what lights your world. There's different rhythms that's going to take place in your life, and it plays a lot in the frequency that we have, that we resonate with, and the frequencies that's coming. If you think that energy doesn't transfer, it does. And I'm sure you have felt it at some point in time in your life. Pardon me, let me go back down here. Okay. So who I was at the age of 18, 19 when I first became a mother, got married and had children and all that stuff is not who I am now today. Becoming a mother at age 19, 18, 19 married by the age of 20, 21, and separated by choice within 16 months of the marriage. As a young parent of two children, I knew that it was my responsibility to take care and provide for them. Many can say that it's not solely one parent's responsibility to love, care, and provide for the children, but when God tells you that you can't stay where you are, you begin to move. And that's what happened to me. You don't think of what the cost will be or how you will be able to afford it. You just start doing something somewhere and do the best that you can. When you have two little people that look towards you to build and create a life and world for them to live and thrive in, I'm sure most parents will agree that you will do whatever is necessary to provide, create, and build. Most parents do every day, and so do I. My journey isn't rare. My journey isn't rare or different from most. However, it may have some differences. As a parent, I never planned outside of what I could earn. I operated within the means in which I was able to provide for my children. Through welfare that requires you to give the name, date of birth, and social security number of the other parent. Through this service, many are provided monetary funds and food stamps on a monthly basis. These services also will issue a child support order for the other parent and or absent parent. Yes, the government assistance program will place an order to be paid funds that are received for your children, should you be unable to provide for them. This information is not known to many, but if you have ever received assistance, you know. During the service, it was a good time to begin to prepare oneself for the future. Future moves as a monthly stipend can help, but it won't get you very far. Yet it serves a purpose, and we all have a purpose, right? Starting out as a young mom, you may be limited. Because what's going to be the factor in all of that? It's going to be what support systems do you have in place? Do you have family support? Do you have friends that are willing to support you and help you with your children? Someone to watch them while you're going to work, or are you going to put them in a private daycare, or are you going to put them in a public daycare? That's all things that you have to think about as a parent, and finances is a big part. Starting out in as a young parent on TANF, you're working with, you learn how to make little become much. You learn how to make it work, right? Because when you hear me say, I like work with money. So I would say that's work with money. That is money that you begin to accumulate every month, and you know exactly where each dollar is going. Each dollar may not exactly stretch to everywhere that it's going, given the cost of rent, utility bills, whether or not you're going to have a vehicle and commute, or you're going to be using public transportation. There's a lot of different factors and variables that goes into when you become a young mother and how you're going to expedite about going about living your dreams. Now, where I come from, they always say, one monkey don't stop no show. So no baby, not no just one baby is going to stop your life from being what it's going to be. No matter how many number of babies, if you have a dream for your life and you start working towards it, you can make those dreams come true. Now, whether you have a scarcity mindset or a growth mindset, that could be the factor in your abilities to rise to the occasion, right? Because we all want to arrive somewhere. So the parental responsibilities require shelter, utilities, food, clothes, and the basics. And there's nothing wrong with being able to provide the basics until you can identify a way to provide more income to obtain more of the wants we call luxury, that now has become a necessity in some cases. For example, having transportation to get to and from, and how does it fit in your budget? Not everyone deems a car as a necessity and will utilize transit services, or car services, all to fight, all of which has to be factored into one's monthly budget. With no child support and not seeking to fight for child support, as visiting the courts to ask someone to take care of their responsibility just to fit into one's schedule to provide as the provider. That's a question that always comes up whenever I am in conversation with other parents, the whole child support thing. So it's a little hard for me to have that conversation with individuals because I don't know what that is. I don't know what getting child support is. I just know what it is to be responsible for my children and have that responsibility and have to take care of them. So parenting alone has its plus and minuses as it provides you more time to spend with your children and forces you to become creative in the activities of each day. As this helps the children to develop a routine and gives them a sense of responsibility early on as they are starting life. When you're parenting, you don't really think about what things you're missing, like hanging out with friends or dating, because if you're doing it right, you're busy with the children throughout the day, from wake up until they go to sleep. Once you establish that schedule, because getting on a schedule as a single parent in the beginning and as a young mom, it was a little difficult because as a young mom, you kind of don't think that a schedule, teaching children a scheduled routine, having things actually on the list to do, helps them and prepares them to get into the swing of things in life. Versus when you allow them to kind of just like hang out with you and be involved in your conversations and go to bed when you go to bed, it's kind of hard to kind of get them to differentiate. Not that we want to exclude them, but I just feel that some children should not be involved in certain things when it comes to adults. Children should have their activities and their place of socialization, and adults should have their things of places and things of socialization. Although they can combine the two, but that comes from connecting with other people, other like-minded people that have the same morals, values, and ethics and principles in which you raise your children. Their morals, values, and principles and ethics are somewhat similar. So you join hands, because if you don't share the same morals, values, principles, and ethics of life, it's going to be kind of hard to hang out with those people. So I was talking about children developing a routine and how that gives them a sense of responsibility as they are starting out in life. When you're parenting, you don't really think about what things you're missing. Like we talked about hanging out with your friends and dating. That was a sacrifice that came along the way. It was a choice sacrifice. Because I understand that not everyone wants to dedicate all that time to their children. Some parents feel that, they do what they do with their children, but when they want to go have their own parent time, they separate from their children. That was not my experience, so I can't elaborate into that. My experience was being there consistently, dedicated to the children, to make sure, one thing for sure, making sure that they knew that I was there for them. I didn't want any attachment issues, even though sometimes they come along, because when it is time for you to go out the door, they kind of don't want you to go. But it's a process with that as well. So dating and hanging out wasn't on the list. And as a young parent, thinking our children are our company, and children can be our company to some point, but children without structure that's provided to them, and allowing them space to grow, I think can impede on their growth, life, their emotional development, how they communicate, how they handle wins and losses in life, because they have to know that there's consequences to the actions, and depending upon the action, the consequences could be positive or negative. And if it's negative, how do you deal with them? How do you handle them? How do you begin to process it and work through it, right? So moving right along with this, because what am I? So you establishing the wake up time, establishing bathing time, establishing uh breakfast time, or whatever your morning ritual is. If it's get up in the morning and thank God you have that, you get in the shower, get dressed, there's meal time. If your children are not quite school age, then that means that you are the provider for that child. So that means that you should have an agenda for what activities you're going to do during the day. For an example, an agenda for what we would do throughout the day would be, once we got up, got dressed, had breakfast, we would clean up and we would straighten up the house and things of that nature. They would be responsible for cleaning up their little area that they had. And then I would take them outside to sweep up the what do you call it, the gutters of the street, or sweeping up in front of the house on the sidewalk, because cleanliness is next to godliness, and that's also teaching them how to take care of and maintain where they live. So if you teach them not to tear it up and to take care of it, hopefully as they grow older and they have friends, they'll tell their friends, hey, not here. You can't do that over here, because that's not what we do, right? So this is good in helping them understand. Along my journey as a parent, just as many of my peers were doing as well, I found that my male peers were experiencing troubles co-parenting with the children's custodial parent. Now, for those who don't know, the custodial parent is the parent that the child lives with and is the primary caregiver of the child. Some report being taken for increases in child support whenever they would get a pay increase. They reported having trouble getting their children on the days scheduled through parent mediation agreements. They even reported that the other parent would go as far as causing disruptions at their workplace and or reporting them to child services. Many times these conversations come about due to many parenting in my to my okay many times these conversations come up about parenting due to my parenting style and how I was able to raise my children by myself, and my perspective experience of parenting. So mostly I didn't look for problems nor create any problems for the other parent, because he pretty much created his own. So taking time to cause unnecessary drama wasn't my thing at all. So not that our children could not benefit from the funds and his time, but when they don't have either, or feel that you have the child so they are good, what do? You handle your business, right? And that's what we do. We handle our business. Whether someone is there to help you or not. And I think this is a theme that has carried on throughout my life. We talked about, if you join us in our group, How to Win in Life and Win in Business, I believe we discussed that, how I saw defining moments and periods in my life, the same thing would show up when I got to the point where life got hard and I couldn't figure out this equation. Right here, right? I couldn't figure out the equation, but I know I wanted to do better. I know I wanted to be better. I knew I had this responsibility, so I had to be very mindful about how I navigated and what decisions I made, because the decisions that I made, I knew they had to include the care and well-being of these children. So that means I had to look at what type of employment would I find for myself. Would it be something that fits their schedule? If they didn't go to school just yet, I either had to find a childcare provider, which sometimes was a little challenging, because people could start out, friends, neighbors that you know, family members, they may have time to help you out with babysitting, but what happens when their life begins to transition and change, and now they have to start moving in another fashion, and now you no longer have a child care provider. So the smart thing for me to do was to wait until they got of school age. And when they became school age, I transferred to community college. Um, and I took classes around my kids' childcare schedule. And that worked for a little while, but you want to be able to do more and make more, because public transportation, getting around from the school, getting the kids to daycare, getting back home, every day on the daily routine became a little bit harder. So, of course, the mind starts to envision what? How can I make this easier, right? I want a car. So now, in order to get a car, I have to realize I got to look at what are my finances? What am I working with? At that time, TANF was like 322 for two kids. So I was limited in finances. So that meant that I had to find some kind of way to begin to generate income that would help me to begin saving towards getting a car. So through through the college, I was able to go through their student support system program to identify jobs. They help you find job placements. And I was able to get a job through there. So once I got the job, I had to get a job that now allows me to go to school as well as work the job, as well as make sure that I can get these kids out of daycare at the appropriate time so that I don't incur late fees for coming and getting them late. And then getting having everything all synchronized about what their schedules were going to be. Sorry for the absent-mindedness because I'm going back a little bit. So just to bring you forward. And it wasn't easy to do it. Finding a work schedule that fits around the kids' school schedule, adjusting my class schedule to meet the job and the school. So it kind of made some things kind of turn upsy-turvy. So you find yourself like early morning, you're doing what you need to do, get the kids together, go to school midday. After school, maybe, did I say your class? Trying to think. Did I? I think I took some classes, like maybe one or two, right before, like somewhere between a work day and right before they have to be picked up from childcare to fit a class in. So I figured out a way. I had to figure out how I was going to do the classes and go to school or go to work. The good thing about TANF is that it's a good thing to fall back on. Should you be kind of in limbo, trying to build your life and trying to make it all fit in? There's a will, there's a way, and I found that way, and was able to get a job doing what I was trained to do, which was certified nurse's aide. So I was able to work inside the nursing field, and create an income to where I could at least begin to start saving up to get a car. And when I got the car, now I have to figure in rent, the car, and still getting the kids around and everything else. So a lot of times things didn't always come out the same. Things didn't always add up. Every month I would always be short, somewhere, somehow, some way. And that began to create a desire of thinking about what I really wanted for my life. What was I really able to, in reality, to give to my children, and helping them understand that, this is where we are, but this is not where we're going to be, because mommy's working towards building a better life for us, and bringing them on board of the mommy's working on a better life for us. It took a couple conversations and involving them and asking them what did they want to be when they grow up, what kind of life did they want to live, which was very interesting because they had very grandiose ideas as children, and it just made the conversation a whole lot better, as we were sitting there processing, because now they're not just thinking about seeing the fact that I'm away from them, but they know why I'm away from them, and the importance of it. which I think helps them a lot to understand. And it also begins to help them start thinking about their own lives as well. So after talking with some friends and finding out that, parenting wasn't easy, whether you were a female or a male. And if you pick the wrong partner, your life could really not be all that fabulous, and you can incur all these other things like charges, fines, court costs, all these things that impede on your finances. So where you think you're building, you're now working backwards. And that's why I drew the line. Remember, we were talking about starting at ground zero, and what side of zero are you on? Are you on the negative side of the zero, or are you on the positive side? And sometimes, due to life situations, real life situations, things that happen, when you begin driving, you can get a DWI. That's going to take points away on your driver's license. It may make you lose your driver's privileges. It may incarcerate you. It may have you do some time and pay some fines. Or if you get caught up in anything that could introduce fines, tickets, courts, attorneys, all of that, I would put that on a negative side, because it's not adding anything to your life. It's now taking things away from your life. So even if you were trying to be on the positive side, you got something that's constantly pulling you over to the negative side, and it's kind of hard to navigate that way. So look at the stress that it can cause: mental stress, physical stress. It impacts your wellness and being, because you're dealing with these challenges, and depending upon the age you are when you have the children, how mature you are, and making this decision to do an adult activity that's going to give you adult responsibilities, how equipped are you, and how fast can you think on your feet to get out of a situation? Or are you one that stops and has a tantrum and blames everybody for things not going the way that you expected them to be? There's different sides of the spectrum here. So it all depends on where you fall at, and you have to assess yourself and see where you are. The first most important thing is to know who you are, because a lot of times, coming up, do we really know who we are, or are we being who our parents told us we are? Do we have our own identity? I like to think that we're born with our own identity, and we do kind of know who we are, even though our parents are reinforcing their knowledge and skill levels to us to help grow us and mature us, right? So all of that plays a factor. And if you're raised at home and you're blessed to have both parents, you may not think about the finances as much, because that was my upbringing. As a kid, I thought I was rich. I really, my parents were rich. I was not rich. However, I didn't, money wasn't nothing that I worried about. And then when I did get into working age, my father pretty much told me, like, don't worry about doing anything with the money, just do what I want to do with it, which was a downfall for me, because had he told me what his older sister was telling me to save my money, to build up my money so that I could purchase some things and do some things in my life outside of my parents. Needless to say, along the journey, being a young adult, being a young mom, not really having too much experience in life, I backed that up pretty darn quickly. I backed it up pretty well. But the recovery was the blessing of having a grandmother that owned property that was able to rent to me. So that was my first rental property. And my rent at that time was like $260. Now, that wasn't bad, and today rents are way more than $260, but that was my first experience with it. So I had to learn how to budget. I had to make sure that I paid on time. I had to make sure that I kept the utilities on, as well as still care for these children and figure out how to work, right? In the mix somewhere up in there, I got married. So, that didn't work out too good. But anyhow, this is what we were left with. So I learned that in any relationship, the only person that you can control is you. Don't have the right to control no one else. You don't have the right to put your hands on anyone else. You are allowed to agree to disagree, because we all don't think the same, we don't act the same, and we don't all have the same expectations, and or life experience that brings us all together. And when we're not what they call evenly yoked, you'll see that there's challenges along the way. But if you're not mentally, physically, and emotionally equipped to be able to process and navigate through those challenges, you'll find yourself by yourself. So my keynote here is never desire to control anyone more than you desire to control yourself. Growing through the journey, one will learn the lessons of self-efficiency and an individual's belief in his or her capacity to execute behaviors necessary to produce specific performance attainments. Self-efficiency, social environment. Self-efficiency reflects confidence in the ability to exert control over one's own motivation, behavior, and social environment. That's right. Only you have the power to drive your life and lifestyle. No one else can do it for you. Now, others can play a part, but for the most part, you move in a way that you know that you can provide and take care of all your needs, desires, and wants. Others can choose to add and or contribute, and that's cool, as giving and receiving works in its context. Note, should something happen where others' contributions should no longer be added, one will continue on just fine. Reasons of building and creating a life they have earned to afford. In reflection, when you're young, residing in your parents' guardian's home, you pretty much have it made. Outside of honoring and obeying the home rules, completing your chores, and learning your lessons, your needs will be met. However, there are consequences when you fail to comply with any of the things that are expected of you. And that's with anything in life, right? There's consequences to what we do. And we were talking on yesterday about how growing ourselves and I hope I don't go over, growing ourselves and make the choices that we make, how it impacts our lives. I share with you my story on how I was a young mom, the different challenges that I faced as a young mom. But there's a repetitive story. There's a point in the story where there's pain. There's pain, frustration of not being able to do what I want to do. And that was just taking care of the basics. That wasn't even getting to the fancy smancy stuff. That was just basically being able to provide a roof over their head, clothes on their back, and food in their belly. Just the simple basics. And when you struggle to meet your basic needs, there's certain things that can happen to you. That's why it's important to make sure that you're eating your multivitamins and getting the proper nutrients that you need. We talked about the gut health, right? And having that digestive tract cleanse out in a proper manner. There's all different types of supplements that can help you, but you want to find the supplements that are the most natural for you and most conducive, that's going to work with your body and your cells, because this human body right here actually has the capability of healing itself if we give it the right ingredients to help it do so, and being active. So I said all that to take us back to why we're here, right? Because we're on a journey. That's where I've been. And now from where I've been, I learned that you got to get over some things. Some things are beyond your control, and you just got to figure out where it is that you want to be in life. When you look at your life right now and you see where you are, if you've done your assessment, you've taken the John D. Martini value assessment, because all these pieces are going to link up for you. They're going to help you begin to develop and craft a picture, design a picture of the life that you want to create. So going through all that, knowing that, wanting more, wanting to not just live at just enough, not wanting to live at just the bare minimum, always seeking and wanting more. In order to get to the next level, there were steps that I had to take. It was either continued education, um, finding another job that paid more, and through higher education learning, I was able to obtain a job, that started out with $28,000 a year. That was the salary. Okay. Now, over time, you stay in a position, you get what's the percentage of increases? You get 2.1% increase. I think they just got a 14% increase this year after years without a contract. But anyway, they work really hard. They deserve it. And that increase is stretched out over a certain number of years. So you're getting pennies to the dollar to increase your pay, but everything helps, right? So as you're thinking of what ways can I do it, and most times when we're thinking of, how can I supplement my income, we're thinking about getting another job, which is going to require us to be away from our family, and our children in somebody else's business, doing their business. But I stumbled across this. It gave me the opportunity, and when I stumbled across, network marketing, just like many of you, I was confused. I didn't really understand it. I didn't know how it worked, what it was it workable? People will tell you many different things. It's a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. All this stuff that when you're uneducated and you don't take the time to find out and identify for yourself, you might tend to believe that. So when I got involved, I saw that it was none of the above. It was not a scam. It was not a pyramid scheme, but what it required was for me to show up and do the work that needed to be done in order for things to begin to come together and actually start working. You have to work your system. If the system will run on its own once you implement the things that you need to do to get your system running. So getting into it and then learning that I could make the yearly salary, I could continue based off of my performance, based off of how well I learn and adapt to the information, how well I am at being able to communicate what it is that I have, to others, and showing them, has the potential to earn me this yearly salary as a monthly salary, or even a weekly salary, or daily salary. But there's levels to this, right? So that's why I put them there, because each level is going to require a different mindset, a different commitment and work ethic, a different plateau of what it is that you really want for your life. Now, if you're like me and you come into it, you're just thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this for a little bit. This is cool. I'm gonna just play around with it for a little bit. I'm gonna make this my hobby, which I did. It was my hobby for a very long time, and I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. It's the transition from employee mindset to business owner mindset, because there's things, just like there were things I had to learn about becoming a new parent, going through the experience of parenting with a parent that maybe wasn't ready for parenting, and then making the decision to go on and do this on your own, and then making the decision to continue forward to advance myself and elevate myself. The same thing happens in business. So, what's the frequency that you're having in a time when it's turmoil? Do you think that your frequencies are the same, or do you think your frequencies are going Can you see? Do you think the frequencies I'm gonna use here are going up, down, up, down, up, down? Sometimes they're like low like this. I had some very low periods in my life. Um, and those low periods were the times when I found that I needed the most support and I needed community. And the support could be your loved ones, it could be family, friends, co-workers, and your community could be those that are like-minded like you, that they want the same things too, and they're trying to figure out how that they can maneuver. And that's pretty much how like our single moms club started, where we began to start helping one another out, babysitting each other's kids while one went to school, or if they had something that they were doing or they wanted to go out on a night out, we kind of rotated who would watch the kids so everybody could kind of like live their life. I was one that elected to stay home and babysit the kids most. I didn't party that much. That it just wasn't my thing. I don't think I'm good at it. I'm sure I could get good at it, if, given my genetic makeup, my family history. I'm sure that I can get good at it, but maybe that's why I don't like it. So, um, these were important factors. Having someone to talk to, having someone to understand where you are at, and helping you and encouraging you as you're taking those painful steps to still move through the storm. There's a saying that says, if you're going through hell, why stop? Keep going, right? So I was in hell, literally, in my mind. There was an image of hell of not being able to do everything that I needed to do. So I want you to hold on to that, because as we continue on into this podcast, from the womb to the tomb, we all started from somewhere. We didn't just magically show up in the world. Well, we did kind of magically show up in our mother's wombs. Um, there's a whole convulsion thing. That's biology. That's biology and chemistry. And I'm not a biologist, nor am I a chemist. So, but I like to use that analogy because that's where it all ends and begins. From the moment that we're born moving towards that final day. So everything that we do in our life, it should impact our life. We should be contributing something to the world that we live in, contributing something better to our lives to make us better, and to our families as well. So let me get out of here. As we are wrapping up, because I don't want to go too far now, because we've got to be able to carry this thing on in the proper fashion. And because I failed to look at the time when I started, I think I'm rounding about just about an hour here. But do you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying? If you can understand where I'm going with all of this, here's our equation of life. We got the -2 equaling 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2, and we needed to come up congruently, whatever our sum is, whatever the sum is, right, that we're reaching for. And we're looking at our frequency. What's the left frequency and the right frequency? Are they the same? Are they different? Why are they different? Where are we at in our life experiences? Where are we at as far as what do we want to generate and create as a revenue? And if you figure you want to make $28,000 a year, before we wrap this up here, I'm not going to back a little bit. Okay, here we go. We have to look at it, right? So earlier this yesterday we were looking at volumes, right? Volumes and units. Forgive my back, guys. I'm gonna put volumes here and units. So per volume, what's the numbers? We gave the numbers what? We made them 10. What was our numbers? 5, 10, 15, 5, 100, right? So if we're bringing in five volumes of sales at $100 a pop, that's going to give us, so we have 5. We're bringing in 5 um, sales, whether that is 5 customers that you're helping through your service, whether that is 5 new people that you bring on and on board to your company. That means that you brought in a volume of 5, if I'm understanding this right. But this is the only way I'm going to understand it is by talking about it and actually trying to make it make sense in my head, right? So if I can make it make sense in my head, hopefully I can make it make sense to you. So that gives you a earner's base of $500, right? And if we do it at 10, that would earn us at $1,000. And if we do it at 15, that gives us $1,500, right? And the same would apply to the units. How many items are you, units breaks down to how many items are you actually selling and at what price, right? So depending upon how many units you have at a particular price. So say, we'll stick with the $100. So if you sell 5 items at $100, that's gonna bring you in residuals of earnings of 500. Same if you bring in 10, same if you bring in 15, right? So now these earnings that you're bringing in, what are you gonna do with them? Where do they go? And how do they link to your income earned for the year? Because what I'm learning in business is that you may be the last one to get paid. And it's okay. You're the first to get paid, but the last. If you have structured your business in the proper manner in which it is. Now, starting off as a new business owner, there's things that you're going to want to put in place. And I'm talking to business owners, I'm talking to CEOs, new entrepreneurs, or someone that's beginning to think about going down this path. You want to be able to set up and look at what is it, what if it's overhead, what is your overhead? What is it costing you to operate your business? And what systems do you have in place that help you run your business? What are those you have to add up those fees to know exactly what it is that as you're raising your numbers in volumes and you're raising your numbers in units, how many times can you do that? What is the frequency of you doing it time and time again to where it's becoming consistent, and now you're generating a consistent flow of customers and or partners, and as well as teaching them and helping them to do the same. Now we're going to work a little bit more on this. So I just want to give you that to think about as we're thinking about it. The same thing, I look at the business as I look at being a parent. Being a parent, we have certain things that we have to do. The overhead would be what's the roof over our head. The utilities, the apps and things, the tools in place to run the household or the business would be utilities, water, appliances, things of that nature that you're gonna need, right, inside the house. So the same, try to kind of put them together, although they're gonna have different labels, they're gonna have different titles, than from your personal life, because you gotta have your personal life as well as your business life. Now, if your personal life is not sturdy or stable, you gotta get your own self stable first before you can start establishing anything in the business realm, because they will collapse, it will collide, and you won't be very successful. Not that you won't be successful, it may take you longer to become successful, because you're going to have to take extra steps, extra miles to first of all get out of the negative and work your way over to the positive. So knowing where you are, exactly knowing where you're at, what your net worth is, because remember we talked about total assets plus total liabilities equals your total net worth. So once you got your net worth, and then now you figure you want to supplement your income that you have, you're starting at 28,000, and you see that through an opportunity, you could possibly earn your salary. You could earn it yearly, monthly, weekly, or daily. Is based off of the volumes of sales that you make, the units of sales that you make. And if you should have difficulty selling anything in the beginning, remember, it's not the product, it's not the team leads that are leading you, it is you. Maybe you need to become better or get a little bit more confident. Maybe you're having some money blocks. Maybe you're having some blocks about how you think and feel. What are your feelings and emotions around your finances? Because that's what usually will tie us up. If we think that, if we grew up in a home where the message was we don't have enough, or, don't tell the left hand what the right hand's doing, or what's another one? Keep all your business to yourself, because when you tell other people, they'll tear it up. They'll try to destroy it. All these different myths that we grew up with around the message of money, and what was the examples that you had before you, taking when it comes down to finances? Were you included in the finance discussion coming up, or were you a contributor to the financial parts of your household? Because some of us, as we grow older, we have to contribute to the household. I know being a young mom caused me to have to pay rent at home, as well as contribute to the groceries, and as well as, still stick to the regular things that you do in the house. So I don't want to ramble on too much, but I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that you will stay tuned as we try to work our way through this, and I'll do my best to try to break it down and explain the importance of finances in our lives, and the importance of making decisions, and how the decisions we make can impact our life and change our lives forever. So let me hold on. Let me go here. So we'll be back, but we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for your time, and as we always do, like we always say, you are a winner from the time you were conceived in your mother's womb. You were born with all that you have to make your life a success. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. I hope this information was helpful to you, and I hope you will come back and join us from the room to the tomb podcast. Now, if I can kind of get this going. There we go. Time for wake up and see another day, giving us our names and move around despite all that is going on around us. I titled this Growing, Learning, and Healing, as I'm beginning a new series of the process. I'm to you, so we can kind of get to know each other a little better and to understand a little bit about my process and my journey of how I got here and what's going on while I'm here. How about that? I'm gonna turn the air on for a bit. I wish somebody needed someone. I wish I could over you. I'm gonna take it for me. Take it off your mind if you know it's easy. I guess the kind of making me taking night, taking is all that I do, cause yeah. I let you feel, don't let you in on my life. I tell you the things that you didn't know. I know you like that. I know you need that. The way you move in your body don't need your feedback. I know it makes sense. Don't know I play pretend.